fantastic. Yes. All right. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Can you see me? Someone give me a thumbs up or some feedback. This is my first live on this laptop, so I just want to make sure you guys can hear me and see me okay before I start, transmitting. Beautiful. So sorry for the delay in getting started. I needed the Chrome browser instead of Safari. Did not know that. Learning curve. So welcome to the space, my friends. So today we're going to talk about the body being the final frontier on storybook Earth. So you, as formless awareness, is fully awake. You're complete. You're boundless. You're whole. And the good news for you is that's looking through your eyes right now. It just may be more interested in thought forms, emotions, or getting somewhere. But let's just stop for a minute and let's notice the noticer. Let's observe the observer. This can help silence the mind. Now, of course, thoughts can keep coming up, keep reverting back to this awareness because it is the space of God, of totality, of wholeness. It is complete, it is awake. Now, your body is playing catch up. Your body is what's opening up or dilating to your infinite wisdom. So, really, awareness isn't on a journey. You can really say it's the body's journey, a parent journey, of course. So, that's why it seems to be a process, folks. That's why this seems to be an evolution or an unfolding that never ends. Right? Infinity is no beginning, no ending. So there is no end to how bright you can shine through the apparatus, through the avatar, through form. However, we must be clear of what and who we are beyond form. Now, form will not take you into the formless, meaning thought forms, imagination. You're prior to all of that. Formless awareness is prior to all of that. It's the stage that allows thoughts to pop up, emotions, imaginations, desires, all of that. You're the seer, the watcher, and it's always here. So instead of pulling awareness out, your energy out, reel it in like a fisherman. Reel it in to subject. You are the source. So, what you are noticing with your body seeking is a habit, addiction, and a conditioning of lack. That is it. Awareness isn't in the addictions, it's the one watching it. Awareness isn't seeking, or God isn't seeking, it's the one watching it. Because all seeking is a thought form, it's a belief system. Now, what you really are beyond belief. You are the one that notices the squirrel. You're the one that notices the seeking energy or the sensation and feeling of lack. You're that quiet space that notices. It's quite neutral and unconditional, meaning it doesn't have those personal judgments and snags and ties of conditioning. Now, of course, what we're talking about is a paradox because the impersonal does appear as a person for a short time. But as we come to realize as the impersonal seer, impersonal consciousness is that when we are stuck in the personification of conditioning, it's very limiting. It's very claustrophobic. And it's a rule book. So all I'm pointing you to today is the wholeness that's already here. The freedom, the joy, the absolute ecstasy of just being yourself. And this includes the appearance of the body. Let's not try to get rid of form anymore, folks. Let's not try to kill our minds or egos anymore because, you know what? They're also the manifestation of infinity. There is no other. It's just God or consciousness, awareness appears as levels, different frequencies, vibrations, states of consciousness. But it really is just one energy appearing as these myriads of characters. So, in essence, you are the lowest vibration and the highest vibration. So, sure, you may have experienced through the body vehicle depression, anxiety, and self hatred, but that's only one little view of infinity. It's just what you were trained to focus on, what the body was trained to focus on. That's why, again, this is really the body's journey. Awareness is totally awake, it's totally full and whole and in joy. That's why, again, it can seem like you are fully there as presence, alert and still, and yet the body's kind of doing some stuff. It's got some habits, it's got little addictions, it's got some stuff going on that you're aware of. Now, you as the seer or that clarity can shift those things. You can shift habits, but you must be clear on your position as formless awareness. Otherwise, it's the mind trying to change the mind. It's a condition trying to change the condition. And what that feels like is force, effort, and trying. I'm trying to create this. I'm trying to become this. But what we're talking about here is a receptivity, a deeper receptivity, intuition. So the body is really only receiving the infinite wisdom you are and actualizing it, because this is like a prism, an interface. But if this has been conditioned for lack and self hatred and woe is me, then it's distorted. This is why the fundamental pointing here is revert back to awareness. Observe the contents of your consciousness, which includes the thoughts, the emotions, the memories, the imaginations, and how the body is appearing. Because if you want to know your hidden beliefs, just look at your reality. Look at your dream, because this is a dream, which means it can shift in an instant. Because the body's only taking its cue from you. And so is all of this, because everything that's appearing is your body. There is only one reality, and it is consciousness or energy, and you are that. But the question is, are you lucid? Are you aware of yourself as awareness? And are you clear that you do not need to wait, because waiting implies time is real, but time is just a thought. That's all. So I'm not talking to your mind here. We love the mind. We're not, again, shunning it, but I'm talking to your heart, the soul, SOL, the all abiding light source, which is here right now. Just turn around into here, revert everything back into here. And when the mind wants to come up and start dancing and parading, you revert it back down, because all what we call the mind is again an addiction. It's a habit that's telling you your belief system of I'm not who or what I want to be yet. I'm not that. But your true nature is I am. The I am presence. Prior to all thought, emotion, and imagination, the sense of existence, the sense of aliveness, beingness. You can feel it viscerally in the body. It's a subtle energy. And when we revert back into body, instead of trying to get away from the temple, away from heaven, away from God, you can feel your own life force, which is the pulse of God, the pulse of the universe, the pulse of life, which you're not separate from. But you cannot see, experience, or quote unquote manifest, which is really just a receptivity, nothing you don't claim. We don't realize that unconsciously we're claiming depression. We don't understand that unconsciously we're always claiming something. What I'm suggesting here is why not claim something consciously? Be conscious of what you're consenting to. Be conscious of what you're claiming because your word is God. You are that, whether you are conscious of it or not. But the only way you can viscerally see this and knock out doubt is by getting up and being it. We're not looking for presence anymore. We're not looking for God anymore. We're not looking for enlightenment anymore. We are getting up and we are being it. Beingness is faith. It's a feeling. It's a conviction. It's a sureness. But you have to give this to yourself. Who else will do it? Gone are the days we wait for Jesus. Gone are the days we wait for, the next full moon or eclipse. Gone are the days where we just wait. Waiting is a habit, folks. It begins now as beingness. You own it, you claim it, you get up and you be it, and then you will have direct evidence and confirmation. That's the only way to know this, for real proof. Otherwise, what we do is we sit down and we philosophize it, we debate it, we go into study groups, we read tons of books, we go to retreats until our hair's gray. But you're the living satsang. You're the living prayer. You've just mistakenly fallen and kneeled to a thought form or belief that says, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I need to go over there. I need to do more of that first. Okay, well, your wish is your command. Because whatever you think you need to do more of, it will be gifted to you by you. Deep down in your heart, you know what to do. You know what you are. But the body vehicle has been trained for anxiety, codependency, and sheep-like behavior. So we don't trust ourselves. But you must ignore the appearance of the body long enough so that you can trust the invisible force of the unmanifested realms within your body. Spirit, wholeness, whatever you want to call it. You have to fast from what you call your world. There really is no world. It's a projection of your consciousness. You must fast from it long enough that you can touchstone the well of self. It's your only solace is soul, S-O-L. Your only safety is in your heart. Your only clarity is in awareness, being it. And that takes no time because guess what? It's appearing as your body right now and your breath. But are you lost in thought? You're not just a mere mortal unless you say you are. You're not asleep unless you say you are. Notice your inner dialogue. That's the contents of your consciousness. Notice. And you will start to realize why things are playing out the way they do. And any time you see an unconscious narrative, anything that says, I'm not this, I'm depressed, life sucks, I'm a victim, blame her, blame him, you cut it right there with the light of your awareness. It is your sword, it is your katana, it's your nunchucks. It will take down all distortions. It will take down everything that does not serve your royal heart. But again, at first, it's going to seem a little challenging because we have the habit of identification. That's why a lot of beings think, there's no space between me and thoughts. There's no space between me and the emotions, and it's just so intense and rapid fire, rapid fire. It's like that at first because of the momentum of seeking, the habit of feeling disabled and unworthy. But if you stick with this and stay with yourself, fall in love with that, this starts to slow down. It loses the momentum because now you're sitting on your throne. The master is home. There's only one master in all bodies. Please know this, because there's only one source. There's only one being appearing as all. But when you come home to yourself, you're sitting on your throne. You're in heaven. You're dwelling again in heaven. And then those little snarkies, assholes, little trolls that pop up, whether it's inside or seemingly outside, they really are the same thing. Your laser beam awareness is what is it all. Because you do have authority, my love, when you're conscious. But when we're unconscious, what is authority? Oh, it's over there. It's over. You're the authority. That's right. Tell me what to do. Tell me who to be. Tell me how to breathe. Tell me how to bleed. That's the old world. That's death. That's death. Death. We're talking about aliveness. The I am is alive. It's awake. It's fresh. And it's now. You just have to be able to withstand yourself long enough, to be with yourself long enough, and to withstand that turbulence of leaving the personal atmosphere into the spacious realm of the eternal seer. Hmm. Well, when you say soul and spirit, I'm talking about the same thing, except for with soul, normally, it's rooted in dogma, SOUL. Remove the U, you just have SOL, which is Spanish for sun. You are that sun. All of us are the Buddha, all of us are Christ, but you must claim it in order to do the works of Christ or the works of the Buddha. We can only claim that, though, for conscious. Conscious that our consciousness is the operant power, is God, is the absolute. It's just this source that we are. It seems to splice off in two, a finite and an infinite aspect, a conscious and a subconscious. They are one. It just appears this way for the sake of form, for Leela, for the dream. This is why when you come home to yourself and you recognize this, like the word ego and mind and soul and spirit, I mean, it kind of lose all meanings in a way, because it's all that. Everything is that. And there's no right or wrong way to be. There's no particular way to be. That's the freedom of beingness. But again, a huge thing of this is trusting yourself, which is more the body being open and dilated to this, which is where self-love and self-respect comes in, nurturing, celebration, praise, adoration. The body loves that. When you're fully conscious and you talk to the body, oh my God, it loves it. Goosebumps, because it's the voice of the Lord speaking to itself, to its creations. It loves it. It's just like when you speak to plants. It grows. It's very healthy. But we must be clear. Who or what do you think you are? Your body will display what you think you are, or how deeply you have met yourself. Hmm. Hmm. A part of me would love clarification on why bliss and excitement can be trusted when everything is neutral. Okay, so beyond form, it's neutral. It's like a white light. So all of this is like a white light hitting the prism body, or like the rainbow effect, hitting a raindrop, hues of the rainbow. These are the hues of the rainbow. But the substratum of all of this is the I am, which is the white light. It's neutral because it allows all to be. Let's just use the word unconditional, because the mind can have neutral as something kind of boring, but it's like a white piece of paper for you to create on, to play, to express. But you're also, paradoxically, the artist. How cool. So simultaneously, you're nothing, you're void, you're empty, wonderfully nothing, zero, 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 empty, empty. The white piece of paper. But also, you're the markers, the crowns, the glitter, the jewels, the whatever. You're all of that as well to make that beautiful painting, which is fleeting, meaning the body apparatus, what you call your world. All of this is fleeting. Just like if we color a picture and oh, we're done, we move on to the next. This isn't going to last. So this is like one big firework of creation and goes back into the blackness of night. Each character is like that. Everything that arises is like that. And it feels much more like that when the body's involved. When we shun the body, when we say, you're not God, you're not heaven, we're literally closing the door on it. We're closing the door on infinite possibility because we're in denial. Non-duality is not a denial. It's inclusive. We are including everything. Not going, nope, it's just this. No. Wonderfully nothing. Absolutely everything, babe. It's either all sacred or none of it's sacred. It's either all God or none of it's God. It's just where most people get hiccups is, well, why would we create that? Or why would we do that? Or why would this happen? Illness, war, famine, you know? Contrast. Just like there's black paints, red paints, white paints, brown paints. It's all contrast. But we can only have that clarity when you're in the space of presence or when you're conscious in your heart, because the heart is intuitive. It's literally the seat of the soul. It's wholeness. So when we move from mind into heart, we're literally whole in those types of questions of, well, why would I create an eating disorder? Or why would I create a trauma? Or why would I, end up with an abuser or something like that? In the heart of intuition, it's all silenced because we're not in the mind. We're not in the fractalized mind or the neurosis of conditioning. We're whole. And in that space of wholeness, those questions of lack literally can't survive in that atmosphere. We're not denying them. They literally just can't appear in that atmosphere or frequency of presence. And if they do pop up, they just don't last very long. They dwindle and they're absorbed back into the light of consciousness. And that's all we're doing here right now. Hmm. Anna, why contrast is required for the experience of expansion? Well, have you ever seen a mother give birth? There's lots of contractions, expansion, contraction of the uterus, a lot of wailing, dilation going on, but a birth comes through, a new life form comes through. Why would this be any different? It's just of consciousness. It's all consciousness, but it's just of your seeming personal consciousness or mind. It's growth. There's still going to be the appearance of growth in what looks like birth, in what looks like death. But to say there shouldn't be pain or contrast, I mean, seriously, how would you know what health was without illness? How would you know what it was like to be wealthy how would you know the opposite without poverty? You couldn't. They're flavors. Same with like white chocolate and dark chocolate. Contrast. And even though you might you might not like the white chocolate, it gives you the contrast of I like this better. This is what my heart prefers. So for there's someone mentioning preference in here. What's wrong with preference? There's nothing wrong with preference. It's just preference doesn't get in the way of presence. And if it does, then we know, okay, we've got an unconscious belief there. Interesting. And we know how to heal it with awareness. There's nothing wrong with desires either. That's why I think we shun the body. All these old school teachings of, you shouldn't have desires. You shouldn't have a mind. You shouldn't have an ego. You should just stare at a wall all day and be okay. Like, seriously, we should all be bland vanilla. No, 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 no. The reason why we suffer is because we have an idea that we shouldn't have desires. We have an idea that we shouldn't have preferences, or we shouldn't, like want to move or something like that. I should just be okay with just no, you're going to have natural desires, organic desires. They're just not neurotic desires. They're not desires coming from lack. They're deeply inspired, passionate. Wouldn't that be cool? I'm infinite. Why not go get a new job? I'm boundless consciousness. Why not heal my cancer? Or, attempt to do that. Like, you know what I mean? There's just this openness to it. It just doesn't cloud your clarity, doesn't cloud your presence. And again, if it does, then we know we're bumping up against an unconscious belief, and we know how to heal it with the light of our awareness. Look from it, not for it. We must come from the presence, not grabbing for it. Someone's asking how to heal an unconscious belief. Just by you becoming aware of it is everything. That's a huge win. You become aware of it by the emotional density or the chattering. You just becoming aware of it creates space. But then you also have to make the choice of, I'm not going to kneel to this anymore, and I'm going to focus on something else. But you can only have that choice if you're conscious. So as soon as it dawns on itself, we can come back, move into the heart, move into gratitude. Because again, you're healed. It's the body, again, that's actualizing your wisdom. So if the body was trained for depression, you're training it into gratitude with the light of your awareness. That's why so many beings can have glimpses of this. Oh, yes, I'm present, but there's still some unraveling and processing to do of the body, especially if there is deep traumas or habits. It's just now everything is unfolding consciously, and you know your toolkit. So notice how you feel. If you're feeling murky, scared, anxious, and unworthy, that is a belief you're becoming aware of. Now let's move into the heart. And again, it's going to seem like it's a challenge at first. Why? Because lack has had the paintbrush, you know? An unconscious conditioning has had the paintbrush. And now you're kind of taking it back, so to speak. It is you taking it back from you. That's the paradox of all of this. But it's constantly coming back to yourself and that which you're focusing on. Love, gratitude, appreciation, the beauty that already is. And then your avatar starts to get trained into that instead of, if we were raised by moms and dads who were constantly bitching, constantly complaining, you just naturally took that on. It's not your fault. We were just absorbing it for an experience. But now that we're conscious, it is our responsibility. Who else is going to do it? But we do it through love. You do it through presence. You do it through awareness. That's the first step. Because without awareness, you can't even change a thought form. Without awareness, you can't even change an emotional pattern. So we need the clarity of emptiness and spaciousness. And then from there, you can get in touch with your heart of like, what is your true desire? What inspires you? What is authentically right for you? Because what's authentically right for you may not be right for me or another character. And that's the joy of beingness. We're all a hue of the rainbow. And that's why this is a natural trust of yourself, a natural trust of your heart's inspirations, which at first, again, is going to feel like there's a little bit of a unwinding and unraveling so that you can feel that clear, authentic vibration of your authentic self. But just like with any other addictions, friends, for some reason, we do get addicted to adrenaline. The body does. The body gets addicted to cortisol and stress, hormones. So, what we're training the body into is more elated love, gratitude, appreciation, praise, celebration, all of these things. And it's only you, the I am presence, the one that's awake, the seer, that's going to steer and change the avatar. And as you change the avatar, which is a manifestation of consciousness, everything else changes because this is the prism that's casting out your whole world, so to speak. Begin with observation. Hey, Sammy. Hello, Anna. Is openness a choice? Not until you're conscious. That's the paradox of this. But once you recognize that your consciousness is God, that awareness is the active principle of God, whoa, that's when stuff starts to change. That's when there's a choice to change the response, a choice to change the assumption you have of yourself. That's the choice you have. But it can only arise in presence, it can only arise in lucidity. Otherwise, literally, we're following thought forms and the body's just has taken over. And again, like I said, the body's been trained for lack, so it's going to gravitate to like everything lack based. It's going to gravitate to the things that are going to feed its unconscious beliefs. That's why, again, the fundamental pointing here is, are you aware of your body's patterns? Are you aware of your consciousness, the dialogue going on, or none? Because the dialogue does settle down when you come home into your throne. You've got to claim this. And I can only share what this character has done through a direct experience. And I can only say the doubt will fall away through your direct experience. That's why we must get up and be this and not just philosophize it. We can spend years philosophizing this, but let's actualize it. It's how you seemingly are creating your heaven on earth, which is not really creation, it's a reception. Everything's finished. You receive based on what you're conscious of being. So if you think you're unenlightened, you will receive a holographic reality where you're unenlightened. Same with poverty, depression, feeling inadequate or unworthy. I mean, what is the I am confirming of itself? What are you confirming of yourself? Because you are the I am. You are God. And it's unconditional here. There's no rules. That's why we must be clear. And touchstoning on the question of morality, there's no rule book. That's what I mean. But I gotta say, naturally, there's deep compassion and respect when you realize what this is, my love. But what happens when we are lost in human consciousness, just thinking we're just humans and Earth is really real, and all of this is really happening, is we try to tell everyone how to be. This is the right morality. Nope, follow this rule book. Nope, this is the way to Jesus. This is the way to heaven. Oh, you shouldn't eat that. Oh, you shouldn't drink that. You should dress more like that. You know what I mean? Then we start to compartmentalize everything, and we're dissecting. We're dissecting, and we're trying to box. We're trying to box ourselves. And that's all the human mind can do. Let me shove myself and others into a fucking shoebox. That's all it does. And we come to find out, like, that's not real morality, so to speak. I mean, we're just trying to pin everybody down. Now, when we're living through the heart and we're fully conscious, like what you call morality naturally arises. You naturally respect. There's natural compassion. There's not codependency, though. Let's not confuse compassion with codependency. So, I mean, you can tell someone to fuck off. If that's the place, you can set a boundary. It's coming from a deep space, though. But if we have these ideas of what God or the absolute is, if it's just, looks like this, then we are going to pin ourselves down and we're never going to allow ourselves to fully express what we are authentically because we have an image of our head of how we're supposed to be. Now, that's cheating. And you're always going to fuck yourself, and not in a good way. The image in your head is never who you're going to be. It's not the real you. What we really are can't be photographed, can't be videotaped. So nothing of the manifested realm can represent the unmanifested. It's just dancing shadows and light. That's why it's an invisible feeling. It's an intuitive pulse, that sense of the I am, the sense of God, the sense of heaven within your own being. Do not look outside of yourself. This is all an echo of what you used to believe. This is all an echo of your past stance in consciousness. We must shut the shutters of the eyes and go inside. Be still and know that I am. Olivia. Now with the child, I feel like I lost myself so much, and also my connection to, I think she said spirituality. Yes, I get it. I'm a mama of two humans and chickens and dogs and cats. So I get it. You got to still create time and space for yourself, self adoration, self respect, even more so now because you're a caretaker, because these roles are still going to appear. This is where we mother ourselves, just like you're mothering your children. And as you mother your avatar, your body, you'll actually become a better mom to the kids, which is really yourself. That's why how we treat ourselves is how we treat others. How we talk to ourselves is how we're going to talk to others. You see? So even if it's 5 minutes, I know some days you're not going to get that time for yourself. You know, some days it's boom, 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 doing the mom role. I get it. But if you can squeeze in some 5 minutes, some nature time, some just you time, it shifts everything. Connect with your heart. It shifts everything. Even 3 minutes of it. Even 1 minute of just closing the eyes, putting your hand on your heart, and just being there. Observing, watching, not getting pulled into the go-kart race of the mind, but you. Let this activate and carry you. Changes everything. Because I get it, there's going to be stresses. And the body really will get addicted to those stresses. So mother your body. Let it know it's okay and it's safe. Because again, you're fully awake as awareness, as God consciousness. It's the body that's dilating so you can move through it. Kind of like blowing on a flute or a clarinet or a recorder, you know? Let's open, let's dilate the body so the breath of awareness, consciousness can move through it and get into this realm and transform and transfigure this, not just for your good, but for the entirety of all, because you are the entirety of all. Mhm. I've never read A Course in Miracles, so I can't comment on that. But yes, we can unconsciously project. There's always a projection going on or a show going on, but is it lucid? The dream still goes on, guys. You know that, right? The dream still goes on. The show goes on. You're just conscious of what this is. You're conscious that it's God's play, your play. And of course, the play can change based on the concept you have of yourself, because everything's a suggestion. That's why we must be keen with our hearts. We must be keen observers of our hearts, which is the temple, so that shitty suggestions aren't getting in. That's again, this all comes back to trusting yourself because you are the guru. You end up being the guru to yourself. It dwells within, but of course, it's projected externally until we can trust that guru within. But the external guru is guiding you back to the inner guru. You see? Such a funky paradox. I know. The consciousness thinking of I am feels like I'm thinking from outside my body, feeling from above the sky and at the same time in this body. Yeah. And I am just leads you with just a still silent alertness. So it's not like a constant chatter of I am, I am, I am. It's just I am. But I am, obviously within the realm of form, is going to seem to become and create and evolve and try things and actualize. That's the I am that I am. So I am love. I am confirming that. But what most have done, which is no one's fault, this is all one is playing with itself, is I am unenlightened. I am. I am depressed. I am. I'm not, whatever, fill in the blank. And you're confirming it into existence. But again, all of this can end in a second. The nightmare can end in a second when you come home to you. Observe the observer. Notice what's noticing. Look from it. Hmm. Yeah, again, beings are talking about, but I'm still feeling stuff in their body when they're resting as presence or the I am. That's what I said. Yes, of course, you can still be there resting as the seer, as awareness, and be clear. And the body is going, no, go over here. Go pick up your phone. Go do that. Go do that. Go do this. You'll start to see the habits. This is when we actualize our wisdom. Because some beings will just think, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to just stare at my depression. I'm just going to sit with it. I'm going to keep focusing on it. But whatever you focus on really just grows. Awareness is a magnifier. So we can see it. We have the clarity of understanding. I'm not going to serve that anymore. It was an experience, but I'm not going to serve that anymore because I'm worth more than that. And then you naturally abide your focus on that which you do want to see more of. And for each character, obviously, that's going to be different. You see? Oh, excuse me. So sorry. Siri thinks I'm talking to her. Give me 1 second. Yeah, yeah, quite like smoking or anything, any kind of addiction, shopping, TV, sex, rock and roll, whatever. If you're trying to wean off something, yeah, you'll feel a little nudge in your body, just like kind of like the old world, the gravity of the old consciousness. You just don't kneel to it anymore. You can sense it, you can feel it. You're in tune with that. You're just, and we're here. And I'm not going to respond that way anymore. I'm not going to be a jerk. I'm not going to be an asshole. I'm not going to be mean because it doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? We just start to get really clear about that and you override it with your response, but you can only override it if you're conscious. Are we aware of our awareness? And it may seem like you have to go back 100 times back to yourself to cut that conditioning, to cut those addictions. But eventually, guys, what I'm saying is you're just going to abide here. Like you're just going to be here because you already are here. Again, it's the body that's kind of working out these kinks. And please get out the idea, that you're just going to be a statue too. Your character will have different energy levels, passions, inspirations, interests, all of these things. Like for me, I'm quite hyper. I'm a very energetic gal, but for another character, they might be real chill and we're calm and just take a slow pace. They're both equal expressions of God and divinity. But if we think that we're just going to be like statuesque and no emotions, then again, we're boxing ourselves because life only wants to be you. It wants to fully actualize through the body, because we all have a potential, many potentials for some, but how do we know our potentiality if we can't even sit with ourselves and get the clarity? And I need to be clear here. The clarity or your next steps do not come from this. The clarity and your next steps come from an intuitive body pulse, which of course can be accompanied by a flash of imagination or a thought form. It's just not, it's very soft, Subtle, to the point. It doesn't need to keep reinstating, reinserting like an OCD kind of thing. It's just there and you know what to do. Because the organic reality, the authentic reality, because let's just get rid of the word enlightenment, it's just being organic and authentic, is a feeling space. It's really about feeling. That's why the body's so important. And it is the final frontier on storybook Earth, because for a long time we've tried to cast it away. It doesn't matter. It's unreal. Who gives a shit? No, well, how is that going? The body's a gift, form is a gift, but we can only see that from the formless aspect of presence or awareness, which you must know is here now within your body. It is your body. Oh, I wouldn't say there's anything to benefit from. The unmanifested doesn't benefit, it's complete. Awareness is complete. It's just cool and interesting to have a limited finite experience where we're actualizing boundless wisdom through a body, a time-bound body. Because how that infinite wisdom is going to shine through the instrument or the avatar is so unique. So unique. That's why you can listen to a couple different speakers, you know what I mean? And underlining, we're kind of saying the same things. But it comes out differently, different mannerisms, different energy, character, that kind of thing. But it's all the one source appearing as that. But it's always going to come back to the simplicity that it's you. You're the power, you're the source. We're just kneeling to unconscious beliefs. We're kneeling to ideas that are not in service. And how do you know if they're not in service? You can tell by how you feel. You can tell by what's showing up. Am I hating myself more and my neighbor more? Am I digressing? Am I feeling more unworthy and insecure and fearful? Those are pretty clear indications. Your heart knows the way. That's why we must trust ourselves. In fact, your heart is the only way. Hey, hey, Claudia. What's up, girlfriend? I was at a full enlightenment awareness in the past where I was manifesting queen. Now my connection with the world is flat. I don't know what happened. Well, it can only be the connection with your inner self has dwindled somehow, or we have become too worldly. Life can go haywire to bring you back into your true throne. Am I becoming too materialistic? Am I becoming too drawn out into the world? Or am I in love with the essence of just being? Because again, it all starts with the contents of our consciousness. So can we sit and be with ourselves and observe how we're treating ourselves, observe how we're talking to ourselves? Your inner dialogue's a prayer. Well, in fact, everything is, but it begins as the inner dialogue. So it starts with you, my love. Are you respecting and honoring yourself? And are we clear of the contents of our consciousness? What are we consenting to? But again, sometimes things go haywire or get shaken up because you need to come back here. Keep it simple with the gratitude. Keep it simple with the appreciation. We can always tell if we've kind of lost our footing and gone too much into the world. We feel stressed, a little anxious, disconnected. You know, when we're resting as soul, it's just there's a natural, it could be very subtle or very large, just an appreciation. This is okay where I'm at. Excited to see what's going to pop up or, what could happen, but I'm content, you know? So consciousness is the only reality. Check within. So good to talk to you, though. Blessings to you and your kiddos, too. Hope they're well. Let's first, what if the ego mind personality thinks it's enlightened? Okay. Who do you think the ego is? You know it's God, right? If you keep shunning your ego in your mind as something other than totality, it will behave very poorly. Now, when you venerate it, celebrate it, and you come home as the master awareness, then it takes its seat next to you as a friend. And amiga, amigos. We can't even talk without like the mechanics of what ego is, but I really hope that word dies in my lifetime because it's gotten such a bad rap. It really comes from the realm of psychology. But let's not dissect ourselves. Let's not fractalize ourselves. That's what the mind likes to do. There is only God. And you are that. And your awareness is the operant power. So, really, what we're saying is, I don't like my thoughts. The unconscious thoughts. Okay. Well, be aware of yourself as awareness. Be still. Observe. And so, what if a thought floats by that says, I'm enlightened? What's wrong with that? There is only enlightenment, so actually it's true. There is only light. But I gotta say, when you're resting as presence, when you're resting as the conscious seer, like those thoughts don't even pop up because the one who wants to be enlightened is just a thought. The one who wants to be enlightened is just a belief system. Do you see this trap? Do you see it? You're the one watching it. That one is whole. That one is aware and awake, complete, enlightened. The I am isn't a story. It's what watches and allows and generates the stories. We're talking to prior to thought, prior to the emotion, prior to the imagination. It is the stage that allows it all. That's what I'm pointing to. Because without that emptiness, we're going to get entangled. We need that spaciousness, which is always available to us. Just stop running from yourself. Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way, my love. Someone says we are slaves. Well, that's your thought, that's your belief. You'll enter a reality where that is so, my love. You're very powerful. Powerful enough to say you're a slave, powerful enough to say you're a master. Which one will you serve? The choice is yours if you're conscious. But hey, I'm not here to change you. I'm just here to reveal that you have opportunity and potential. That's all. Oh, good question, Julie. Anna, is nothing and everything merging energy feel energetically sexual? Shakti! I felt that energy arise in my body, or is it just a byproduct? Oh, no, honey. Yeah, it can be totally sexual because it's just raw, alive energy. It's Shakti, it's life force, you know? But here's the thing, if it gets stuck, if we get stuck and we're not expressing it, then we just think we need to go fuck something, screw something. You know what I mean? But really, what it is it's energy. It's creativity. Let's channel it into something. You know what I mean? But totally, I totally understand what you're talking about. And yes, it can manifest that way, appear that way in the body. hmm But hey, there's nothing wrong with sex either. So, hey, Fight Club. When I put attention on the body, there's so much tightness in the body and stomach and chest area. I can't put attention for much time because it's so uncomfortable. Do you have any suggestions? Well, instead of just, no, you got to sit with it. You got to be able to go through that personal atmosphere. But if the whole body doesn't feel right, just focus here. Take the elevator down. You might want to go back up. And you'll feel a tightness at first. Why? Because you're placing love and energy on something that has been ignored. So you're becoming aware of how much it needs to dilate and relax for you to come through, so to speak. And how do we do that? Just like I was showing you. Love yourself. Love the body. Give yourself everything you need. Just support it. Take time for yourself. Don't rush any of this. Luckily, we're not on a time crunch. We're eternal, and we're never going to get this done. So just be very patient and kind with your body because you're fully awake. It's the body that's just been trained for a lot of really insecure and lack-based beliefs. That's why it goes like this. It clinches, clinches. With time, that's the gift of time. This will open more. It will. But there's a natural persistence in this because you see how beautiful it is to actualize your wisdom, your energy. And so that's why we do work with the body. It's not a chore. It's not some kind of like job. It's something out of love and inspiration and actual veneration for what this body actually is. It's a temple. It's church. It's satsang. It's God vibrating and coagulating into a geometry called you, me, we, and everything in between. So if the body's clenching like this from years of what inner turmoil, beings being mean externally, which is really the same thing, you know what I mean? What happens when we're kind to ourselves, gift ourselves space and compliments and love? That's the things this does and did. I'm my number one fan and cheerleader. If I could suggest, be yours too, because there isn't nobody that's going to come. It's you. And as you gift yourself this love and appreciation and cheerleader type energy, you will see the gift and the beauty of timeless love. The timeless love that we all are and that is always available to us. But will we open up to this gift? The gift that is you. I love your name. Is life just bullshit since this is all an experience just happening? I feel like I'm over this human existence and heard when I die, I shouldn't go towards the light so I won't be reincarnated. Your thought, what's reincarnation? Haven't you died like 1,000 lifetimes in this one body? I died multiple times this morning. What's reincarnation? Reincarnation is only business for the mind, the unconscious mind. It's no business for you as the seer, no business for you as the light of presence. But the reason why you're done with the human existence is probably just because you've been convoluted by a lot of dogma and teachings that are berating to the body, the form, and the character. Again, if we want to leave this existence and we're fed up and we're pissed off, we really got to observe the contents of our consciousness because it's your existence is your consciousness. It is the only existence. So there's no man to turn to. There's no woman to turn to. There's only the reflection in the mirror to turn to. There's only you to turn to. And who are you? The light of God. And all things are possible with God. All things are possible with consciousness. If you don't like the word God, just use consciousness. It's energy. So if you're going to keep playing the fiddle of I hate human existence, that's the hologram you're going to step into. You got to notice that that's an unconscious belief and that you can shift it if you step into presence, if you step into lucidity. But I understand it's so alluring to go into those addictions of the body. Again, it loves hatred, cortisol, adrenaline, the aggressive type stuff because it's releasing hormones. And the body just wants a high, whether it's in like a negative charged or a positive charged. That's why you, as the light of awareness, is really revamping the body. It's shifting the body like a computer operating system so that we don't have that type of belief. We don't have that type of experience of, I hate the human experience. You know, I get it. I get it. It's a narrative and a story that can be so weighed down because we're trying to get somewhere we already are. And then we're missing all the joy. But your natural essence is joy. Silly, goofy. I mean, it's just, oh, but you got to claim this for yourself. And we also have to recognize that it's us that's in the way of us. And that's just true responsibility. That's maturity of going, you know what? I'm just going to go sit with myself and observe this. Observe this emotion, observe this pattern, you know, because it feels like an echo of the past. You know what I mean? And we have to be so authentic and real and honest with ourselves because if you're not honest with yourself, which you can only be honest with yourself if you're lucid, nothing's going to change. We'll live in denial, folks. We will live in denial and we'll call it fucking truth. All sin means is missing the mark. That's really sin just means missing the mark. I'm not being who I want to be. That's sin. And it always feels funky. That's sin. Sin is just you not being what you want to be. Not living how you want to be. Missing the mark. What's the mark? Awareness, presence, sovereignty. You're the mark. But if we think the mark's out here, yeah, we're going to be hitting all kinds of fog and ghostly shadows. You just got to clear up in here, and all of this takes care of itself. Connect to that deep well of self, and all of this takes care of itself. And you'll naturally have the confidence and inspiration to shift things. And that's why it's effortless, because you're coming from an inexhaustible source, your authentic self. Of course, the body will still need to sleep and rest and eat and crap and do all those kinds of things. Obviously, we're still in the world. We're just not of it. The body's a library, like a catalog of the appearance and history of all of humanity, a product of the system. If you want the system to change, you have to change yourself. And you can only do that by a radical shift in your consciousness. You really have to be done with the gravity of the old. But I get it's going to unfold like a process because we're getting accustomed to our natural vibration. Which is weird, I know. Thank you. Thank you, guys. What do I think about marijuana? I don't really have too many thoughts about it. If it works, if it assists you, if your character enjoys it, why not? What's wrong with it? This will smoke. But it's not going to bring me any closer to God or beingness. I am that. But if we need that as a middleman for a while, until you realize you don't need a middleman, you're the man, what's wrong with it? You see all these little habits or vices, what we call vices, can carry on even after this recognition. You know, it's just what changes the relationship with it. It's not being seen as sinful or wrong or it's in the way of something. It's just God expressing in this format. But also, if you want to quit something, like if you don't want to do it anymore, you also have the ability and the authority to change it. What I'm saying here is, guys, smoker, non-smoker, beingness is, God is. And you can still be fully lucid and puffing on a joint. You can be fully lucid with nicotine. You know what I mean? It's beyond these ideas of being super religious. Because that's, again, how we start to suffer too. I can't eat that. I can't do that. Put yourself in a straitjacket, right? Perception is coming from your subconscious programming. That's why, too, when you activate, so to speak, awareness or presence, it can feel like it's hard to separate from thought. It's hard to separate from depression and anxiety and being angry. It feels hard. Why? Because your body literally can't express anything else at that time because you have taught it unconsciously to be that way. That's why thoughts can only come up and appear based on the concept you have of yourself. So if we feel unenlightened and unworthy, you are going to just see thoughts that match that frequency and belief. It's in the same arena, that state of consciousness or paradigm of belief. Now, when you go beyond belief into the I am, the seer awareness, it's beyond belief. And we don't need another belief to insert another one. It's just, it kind of clears things. Gives you that space. Erase the Etch-a-Sketch. But that's why it feels hard at first. Because you have a program in your avatar that won't let you think a different way. But as soon as awareness dawns on itself, as soon as awareness recognizes, oh my gosh, this is God, existence, God, this is it. Okay. That's when we can change the concept we have of ourselves. We can raise our feeling emotions out of depression. You see? But it starts all with the light of awareness, because we have to see the contents of our consciousness. And then you can insert a new program. And you're doing it consciously. And you're selecting it. You as the seer. Because it's coming from a deep space of inspiration and passion. Not, I should change that so I can have this. I should change this so I can get closer to something called enlightenment or God. No, you're God and you have the authority to shift those things. That's why these ideas of beings think like, I shouldn't want to have more money. But if you're in poverty, what's wrong with that? You deserve to eat good food and have shelter and clothes. Like, my goodness, we can get so weird about this, like we shouldn't have desires or want money or a house. It's like, come on now. There's no other. Don't you want a warm house? Don't you want to eat organic, yummy food or non-organic, whatever you want to eat? I mean, don't you want that? So again, this message is inclusive. You can rewrite your subconscious, but you got to first be aware. You got to be present. And then you can start raising into gratitude. And notice when you start to collapse back into your old gravity self. Oh, oops. Totally responded that way. Interesting. Okay, it's okay. But what's so cool about awareness is it erases everything. So you don't, like, let's say at 8 a.m., you had a tiff. Or you went back into your phone constantly or something. Okay, I was trying not to do that. Let's say an hour later, it's already gone. You don't even have the memory of it because you're present. Everything is just renewed, rejuvenated, and refreshed in the light of awareness. That's why memory doesn't stick. The time-bound linear doesn't stick. And it's quite liquidy. It's malleable. And sometimes you need to use a lot of sticky notes, whatever those things are called, because time does get a little weird. I will be straight about that. So we got to get beyond this idea that time's linear. It's definitely not. It's only your thought forms that make it seem that way. That's why there can be instantaneous healings and shifts throughout this conversation, you sitting by yourself, just whatever's going on. It can shift because you, as the timeless seer, are beyond time and the concepts of time and the events of time. That's why love can just wash away all that stuff in an instant that was bothering you for like 5 years. Holy crap, that's the power of this. It's the power of this. It's so great. Sorry, I went a little off track there, but to tie up that subconscious thread, the subconscious feels you. It's blind. It doesn't care if you're a male, a female, rich, poor, fat, skinny, sexy, ugly. It doesn't give a shit. That's the unconditional part of us. The neutral part doesn't care. It's only feeling you. So if you feel unworthy, you're telling your body, keep projecting unworthiness. Put me in a hologram of unworthiness so that I can keep this feedback going and this really shitty dance. Now, obviously, we're not doing that consciously. But when we become conscious, we can start noticing, wow, that's a heaviness of depression. Wow, I'm feeling very unoptimistic and like I can't do anything. That's a belief. That's a belief of lack. Your infinity. Of course, there's another option. Of course, you can do this. Your body is just displaying that. Your body's just displaying what it was accustomed to, quite like an animal that's been in a shelter. It's a little scared, a little timid. It's been in a cage. It's going to take a minute to be like, oh my God, the door's open. Oh my God, there's not even a fucking cage. Oh my God, it was a thought form. That this really seemed to shine through the body because I thought it so many times. That's all our prison cell is. It just seems so viscerally real because we have thought it or imagined it so many times that it's been confirmed, confirmed, confirmed into the body, the body, the body. That's why, again, gift yourself patience, forgiveness, and love because you're awake as awareness. It's the body that's dilating and opening up to this. You're so welcome. You are so welcome. So someone asked about death. The appearance of death can only arise in form. The light of the I am is timeless, so it actually was never born and it can't die, and that's why it's perfect. It's untainted. It's unstained. And this is a paradox we were talking about. It doesn't make sense. I know it only makes sense here. But only beliefs can die. Imaginations, thoughts. I get it. We've been so accustomed to go out here in the linear realm of time, really seeing people being born and being killed and death, all of this, but it's all appearance, like a light show, like a movie. There's only one source substratum, appearing is all. It's like the Ouroboros. There is no death. Every ending is a new beginning. And here we go through the spiral. And that's there is no death. So the character Anna will dissolve. Just like when we finish a movie on Netflix or we're done reading a novel, we close the book, but then we're on to the next, and maybe we don't even think about that book again or that movie. All I can say here is when you're here is this, those questions about death and what's next really start to silence. They slow down because you're in the realm of the unmanifested. You're there as the timeless one. And so you can see that this is a light show. It doesn't make logical sense. I know it's a mystery in a way, but there's something within that doesn't use like thought. It's a feeling, and it silences all of the insecurity. It silences all the doubt. It's such a strong vibration and frequency. It is your authentic self, and it's within all bodies now, but it silences that scarcity and the fear of death. I'm not suggesting that if you go to a doctor and they give you 10 days to live, that you won't have fear arise in your body. That may happen, but it may not. But it's coming from something that is directly arising in your dream and not, I'm just sitting on the couch fretting about death. You know what I mean? So there can be those human emotions of what we call fear, sadness, or mourning, but it's coming from a direct experience, meaning like it's really rising. It's appearing right now. But even still, when you're lucid, you can be mourning with your friends and your partners of yourself dying because every character is you. But deep down, you know that there's not real death, that every character that's ever passed is dwelling in your heart, the ones you put on pedestals and the one you hate, because you're everyone, you're everything, and simultaneously zero. You're welcome. Guys, and also too, remember it's the body that's afraid. It's literally been taught that life's linear. So you as God, you as awareness is coming in and you can talk to your body. Like I said, it loves when you talk to it when you're conscious. Oh, it's beautiful because it's all light, it's alive. Um, and it calms down because you're there again as the master. There's only one master, there's only one light, there's only one seer, but you're there and you're going, honey, I'm home. Honey, I'm home. It's okay. And your natural frequency, again, it just calms the body because it's so sure naturally, because it's beyond the whole tug of war form. And I know this is paradoxical and it will never make logical sense to your brain. It makes sense to the brain in your heart. Because as science has shown, there's more neurons in the heart than there is the brain. It actually produces a bigger field. So this is where we end up resting. It's a feeling space, sensing, intuiting. I like to see it like being a spider. Like a spider can be on a web and it knows when ding, a fly hits it. It's so in tune with the vibration of its web. It knows when something's coming, it's caught something, it just knows. And that's really what this organic reality is like. Like, you just know. You have keen discernment too. If a character steps in front of you, like you just, nope, yes. You just know because what's cool is you see beyond the whole character or the costume, and you can just sense and you just know what's right and what's wrong for you. So that's really cool. Zero is absolute, whole, complete perception, untarnished, pure love and all that is. No? Yes. Yes. But the zero also appears as a one. It's like a matrix code. The 0 1 0 1 0 1, masculine and the feminine. And they're right next to each other to create a program, a computer operating program, which appears as this. That's this. It's just paradoxically the one returns to zero and the zero changes the one. Let's look at the one like the person, the character, zero, the dilation of the void. That you're both. You are both. It's just life is very limiting when we're only living through the idea that we're just this body, we're just this character, we're just this person. This personal character becomes much more alive and vibrant when you've recognized who you are beyond form and time. Because now you got the force of source. You know what I'm saying? You got the force of source with you. It is you. All right, guys, I'm going to just take a few more questions and we're going to end our live for today. But if you guys really like these, let me know and we can do more, okay? Hi, Andreas. Death of a child. Yeah, that can arise. And I'm so sorry if that arose for you. But the same thing applies. There can be mourning for months, maybe just weeks, maybe days. I can't say for the character, but there's still natural mourning or celebration. It depends on the culture, because some cultures celebrate death. But all I got to say is there is a contentment. I'm not going to say you're going to be happy. I'm not selling that bullshit. You may be sad and mourning, but underneath that sadness and mourning, and maybe even some oscillation of anger, whatever, there's going to be some human stuff that pops up. No big deal. Is a contentment. There's something deep within that knows all is well. And everything arising is a gift to me to bring me deeper into my natural wisdom so that I can gift that wisdom to my other versions of self that are appearing as the world. Again, how do we think we weave heaven on earth, guys? You infuse it through your body. You're becoming it in the sense of being it. I don't want to say become it. It looks like a becoming through the body, beingness, and then the body seems to become it. But it starts with beingness. And then that filters through the body, which looks like the evolution or the blossoming. But to say you need to get rid of human emotions is just another rule book. What's wrong with human emotions? They're beautiful. Even mourning, we start to realize that's beautiful too, because we're celebrating life, we're honoring life. But also, if we're having a hard time with it, love yourself, respect yourself. Oh, thanks. You're sweet. Oh, thank you, Xavier. And I'm interested in knowing what was it that made you become conscious. For me, it was heartbreak from a loved one. Also, which which zodiac sign? God, I love it. I'm a Taurus. My birthday's April 23rd. Fun fact. Um, when I was little, I've said this 1,000 times, so guys, sorry if you've heard this in interviews. When I was little, I was really into like the paranormal and the cult. I was raised Catholic, but there was a lot of weird stuff that happened to me as a kid. There was clear audience, clairvoyance. I would see doors open and close in my house. My CDs would float across the room. There would just be a lot of weird stuff. But at that age and the conditioning I was under, of course, it's demons or whatever. You know what I mean? Because I was raised Catholic. Or when I was also watching a lot of, I liked haunted house stuff too. So I thought, oh, what is that? It's a ghost or something. Not realizing it's just, it's a peek through the veil in a way. Life going, hey, there's something else going on here. So there was that going on. But when I was around the age of 7 or 8, I was laying in bed one night and I just had this deep inspiration to repeat my name like a mantra. And I repeated my name until it broke down and dissolved and there was no meaning left in Anna. And what was there was just the seer. I was just there as awareness, but it felt so natural, so organic. Like it wasn't scary. It just was like, whoa, okay, this is neat. There's just something looking here and there's no thoughts, beingness. But what seemed to arise and come back was my Catholicism, the conditioning I got from my neurotic mother. God bless her. Everyone is just acting out what they were taught, but there was depression and anxiety and OCD and stuff like that. So yeah, there was an off and on, you could say, which led to an apparent path of religion and studying psychology and studying religion as well. I was really into the Old Testament, New Testament. But yeah, long story short, it began seemingly as a child, and I couldn't ever erase that. Like once you have a glimpse, so to speak, or once you recognize yourself as awareness, you cannot go back. So it kind of set up in a way, kind of a weird neurotic path because it was weird to go from just the simplicity of being to all of that kind of unconscious conditioning and neurotic stuff coming back in that I learned from my folks. So it was kind of an off and on for a while until I started to actualize and really be it, apply it. Stopped with the teachers and the books and all of those stuff. And I'm like, I'm just going to trust this now. And I ran with that and I really started to apply everything. And that's when things started to change. But it wasn't just one event. It's a constant deepening, and this character is still deepening. It's an eternal lotus that never ends blossoming. So I want you to know I never entered a finish line and I never will because I have no beginning and I have no end, and neither do you. But there you go. All right, my beautiful friends, it's been such an honor to be with you today. It's been so lovely. It's crazy that almost 90 minutes have gone by. Hopefully, YouTube will archive this, so it will be up later for you guys who chimed in later or just want to rewatch it. Okay, but yeah, I'll do some more of these since you guys resonate so much. And if you really like these, feel free to join Patreon. We do sanghas every month. They're through Zoom though, so just feel free. Mm. All right, guys, I love you. Take care, okay? Much love.